What can you tell us about availability for Montreal?
Harry Toffolo still rehabilitating, so he's not ready. Pep felt a little bit behind his knee. He's got a little bit of tendonitis, so he's 50-50 at the moment. He felt it during the game last week when he came on, so he's 50-50 for Saturday.
Is that something that was related to his previous injury?
No, because we rescanned the injury and it's nothing to do with it. The injury is healed or healing, and there's some scar tissue in there as there normally is during the healing process, but definitely not concerning the hamstring injury.
I know the answer to this usually from a manager would be, that's why we have a 30-man squad or next man up, but has the level of and breadth of injury this year for you guys, particularly with the hamstrings, has that maybe been a concern for you in terms of maybe looking at something of training or whatever, or what have you?
No, because training was exactly the same last year. I haven't really changed too much of what we do. Injuries happen in any sport. I think there's been a bit of a coincidence with hamstrings, because they have been different hamstring injuries from different mechanisms. If they were hamstrings from doing a certain session or a certain way we were training, then I'd be more concerned. But unfortunately, they're part and parcel of the game.
I know that you could want to go out and win every game, and independent of the streak is something that we talk about, not as much you guys, but does a defeat, particularly one of the nature of the way that you guys suffered last weekend, provide like a natural pause and natural reset for you guys, knowing what's ahead?
Probably not so much a reset, because we still feel that we're in a good place. Unfortunately, things didn't go our way last week, and it was always going to be a tough ask. Nobody in the history of the MLS has done it before, so that shows you straight away that it was going to be tough to win 10 games on the spin. Doesn't help when there's in my opinion, a poor penalty decision given after 10 minutes. But it just didn't. It wasn't an enjoyable game last week, was it? It was 12 o'clock kick-off, under 10,000 fans probably in the stadium, and it felt like I was in Coachella, I must admit.
Did you feel like the pitch was different than it was a year ago?
No, the pitch was the same as last year. It's probably been the same as it has for 10 years. Since they've been playing there, it's not ideal for a football game, but they use it to their advantage for sure.
In terms of these last 3 games, like what is the thing that has your focus most principally?
My focus has been on the top 4, finishing in the top 4 to give ourselves a better chance than last season in the playoffs. And we've still got some work to do now to get there. We've got to win games, we know that. We're playing against opposition now that probably haven't got so much to play for, but there's new head coaches at both Montreal and DC the following week, who will be looking at players to show them what they're about for the beginning of next season. So there's certainly a lot to play for still for them in terms of their players and the way their managers will want them to play. So we know what our job is and what we've got to do, and we've got to be at the top of our game.
I know that ideally you probably would have wanted to see Nate as your right back, Harry as your left back by this point, but it's given you another chance to get an extended look at Jahkeele. What characteristics about him do you feel like he almost kind of feels like a new thing of clay, like, and you've been molding him over the year? Is that something, like, how much are you looking forward maybe to getting more time with him if you guys were to sign him permanently?
Yeah, well, I've really enjoyed working with him so far. He's coachable. He wants to get better. Physically, he's really, really good. But he'll be the first to admit that he needs some work still, certainly on the defensive side of his game. He's been brought up as a wing back, and so your defensive responsibilities are a little bit different. And we've got certain principles that we play with defensively, and he's took them on board. He had a poor few games towards the end of the Leagues Cup, and he's come through that. And I like the fact that such a young player who's played a fair amount of games for somebody so young has come through them down times he's had and showed such good play since then.
And you mentioned Tim at the end of the last game. Tim's fine?
Tim's fine. Yeah, he came over to me, I think, when we had the penalty and just said like he had a spot on his hamstring that he was feeling, and then we missed the penalty, and I think the ball went over the top. I just thought it was right time then, 15 minutes to go, to not get another injury to one of our big players and get Tim off, and we managed to do that, and he's trained since Wednesday.
Carol?
The Pep thing with the knee, was that at all related to his preseason injury when he had a knee thing?
No, it just looks like it's tendonitis on the tendon at the back of the knee. He's got a little bit of inflammation, so he'll get some anti-inflammatories off the doctor to get the swelling down, and when he does, he'll be good to go. I mean, it's not massively restricting, but he feels it, and he felt it when he was on the pitch last week.
Okay. And about Jahkeele, he got an opportunity with the Canadian national team, and he kind of credits coming here and the exposure and the growth he's done. Is that something that you kind of look at now and say, hey, that's another bonus to come into Charlotte? That's another thing we do here is... Yeah,
no, it's definitely a selling point for us, when we're talking to, players that we're wanting to bring into the football club to make us better. He got called up for the national team, which is great for him. We're pleased for him. He never got minutes, but he's got the experience of travelling now. And I think that's something that people can look at now, that they can come here, develop, and go and play for their national teams.
He's got a short amount of time to make it to the World Cup, but do you think he's got a shot?
He's got a shot if he keeps improving at the rate that he is at the moment. He's just been called up to the last camp, so if he keeps doing what he's doing, then there's no reason why he can't be called up to the next one as well.
Yeah.
Tim and Melanda playing in that center back pairing, how do you feel like that's helped out Westwood in the last few games, and has that taken stuff off of Westwood's shoulders?
I think both of them are leaders, Addy and Tim, different kind of leaders as well, but both really good on the football as well, so can pass going forwards really well, both composed, both really comfortable. So I think it's helped Westy not have to come and control the game on his own sometimes, and drop between the two centre-backs and allow them to be more progressive with their passing. Bless you.
Sorry.
That's fine.
I wanted to ask you, you mentioned something about Harry, kind of like where is he at in terms of coming back?
He's on the grass at the moment. He's been kicking balls. We'll probably need to arrange, an in-house friendly between ourselves for him so we get some good minutes. And we need to get you some water as well.
I know, I'm gonna step out. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Mike?
You mentioned new head coaches for Montreal, DC, and I guess the trying to figure out what they're trying to do. Does that make a team like that a little more dangerous, especially at this stage of the season when like you say, they've got something to play for in terms of their jobs, and you guys are obviously trying to stay top four?
Yeah, I mean, there'll be teams that will want to come and, play for... All players play, to improve their careers and what they're going to be doing later. I don't know what any contract situations are at these teams, but I know that their head coach will be demanding of what he wants from them. So, as I said, we've got to give them the respect that they deserve, and and we will do that, and we'll be ready for it.
You have the opportunity, three to go, acquire 9 more points, keep yourself in that top four. What is the conversation like with the players regarding what's ahead? I mean, what are you saying, or what are they saying back to you, the leadership group? I mean, how are you guys approaching it?
Yeah, no, again, one game at a time still, and that's always been my mantra, and the players, just concentrate on this next game, and see where we are after that, and then if you win the next game after that, see where you are after that, and that's always been the mantra. From the start of the season, I've been very open about it, that I want to finish top 4. I just think it gives you such a big advantage in the playoffs, and we've got the opportunity to do that if we go and win our games, I believe, because there's a lot of teams that we've got to play against each other still.
And if you take care of business and things break, if you get to the Shield, is that just kind of icing on the cake, or I mean, because you said top 4, but if you end up with 1.
Oh yeah, no. I mean that's going to be hard to do now. I think Philly only have to win 1 game, don't they now? To make it tough. So that became a lot more difficult with the result last week. But we've still got a lot of aims, and while they're still there to play for, we'll continue.
Steve? Just going back to New York for a second, when going into the match, did you feel a different vibe from the players because of the time?
No, I mean we had to adjust things because it's a 12 o'clock kickoff. So we brought the time we left here. We brought the meal time forward as well. 12 o'clock kickoff. You don't really want players to get up at 7 and eat breakfast, and then 9 o'clock for pre-match. So it was just one meal and down to the stadium. But as I said before the game, 12 o'clock kickoffs are a little bit new to me. I think they're pretty new over here as well, aren't they?
You could talk to Klopp about some of it. But the main aspect is like the stadium itself. There was no energy with the small crowd.
No. Listen, I went there early in the season during my son's bachelor party to watch the Yankees against the Red Sox, and it's a great stadium for baseball. I just don't think it's too good for soccer.
Yeah, and with 3 games to go. And it's been a bit of a roller coaster with how this season progressed, and different breaks and things like that. How would you grade out the team at this point?
Yeah, I mean, it's not really been that much of a roller coaster, I must admit, because it's probably been results-wise up, down, up, and that's it. So there's only been 3 parts of the season results-wise.
Short roller coaster.
Yeah. The Grand National, not maybe, but but yeah, we've been okay. Our performances all season, I think we've improved as we've gone on, and that's always the key to it. We've brought some good players in as well who help us and have helped the system. Idan's stepped up to the plate excellently. When Patrick left, and he had the sole responsibility, and now he's got Archie pushing him as well, because Archie's training really well at the moment as well. So we've got some good players coming through and pushing the others, which is really the important thing for me.
Bringing up Idan, the question is is he performing? Is he overachieving?
No, I think he's performing to his level, and that's the great part of it, because I think there's still room for improvement. He can still get better when we play off him into feet. He can still make some better runs. But he's doing excellent at the moment, and we're enjoying having him.
And among the other players, who else do you feel is playing more up to their potential going through?
I would say the last month, Tim and Adilson and Callie have been excellent over the last month. I think West has been pretty consistent all season. Been really good to get Nathan back in the team. It's not his favoured position. It's not my favourite position for him, but he does a job really well there. I think Wolf's been really good over the last month or two. When I remember when we came out of the League's Cup, and I think the second game, Pep got injured, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's doom and gloom now." For Charlotte, they've lost their main creative player, and we still went on and won 5 out of the next 6 games.
And Jabril seems to be more confident on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, Jibril's been playing well as well. We missed him a little bit when he came off against New England. And I thought he took control of a lot of the ball last week. We just wasn't good enough in the final third last week.
Thank you.
Cheers.
When you look at the table right now, it's pretty congested. There's like a 1-point swing for a couple teams. You talked about, for example, that penalty that was awarded in the opening minutes of last week. That margin for error, I feel like at this point has to be really slim with, making sure you're not fouling unnecessarily, you're really being careful. Is that something you're kind of talking to your team about, how slim the margin of error is at this point in the season?
Yeah, we are. I mean, it's the basics of the game, the principles, stay on your feet, don't give the player an opportunity to go down. Somebody pointed out to me that we've been to New York twice this season, had 4 penalties against us in 2 games. It's a good job I'm not a suspicion theorist, but it's definitely we're not on the best side of some of the calls that are being given, and but we've not got to give the opportunity for players to go down, and if we do that well, then we'll be okay. But yeah, there's been some really tight calls. I didn't see a lot different from that goal last week to Bronico's that was called up by VAR against I think it was Red Bull at home. So, we just want a little bit of consistency as well.
Not even just for fouls and penalties, but I mean, earlier on in the season, some of the players post-match were saying things like, oh, there were little mistakes that we made, which, resulted in a loss. It seems like a lot of those little mistakes have kind of worked themselves out. Is that something that you continue to focus on at this point in the season, now that you're trying to cement that?
Yeah, because you're right, the small margins are the big things now, so getting them little 1%ers, making sure we get them right, can give us a big lift now towards the end of the season. Being in control of our emotions is another one, as well as how we play during the game. But making sure you don't give silly fouls away, get silly yellow cards, or even a red card, which can turn a game. So there are lots of things that we're talking about at the end of the season. Cheers.
Anna?
Sorry about that.
That's fine, no worries.
Perfect timing. I think you said Nate playing out of position a little bit. Why don't you flip JMR and Nate? Why do you like it like that, I guess, for now?
I think Nathan probably handles Wilf in front of him a little bit better.
Okay.
He's more experienced to know Wilf's game. He knows Wilf from playing against him and watching him in the UK for so many years. I'd rather have the younger one, less experienced fullback on his favoured foot rather than the other way around.
Okay. And then I guess on the other side with Vargas and Jahkeele, what would you like to see more out of that partnership?
I think the partnership's been good. They've got a really good understanding now. Kerwin's scored some really important goals over the last few weeks. He also knows he's still got Liel, pushing him as well, because he wants his place back in the team. So I think we've got a really good situation there at the moment.
And then just between Zaha, Edon, and then Vargas out wide, how do you feel like the chemistry of the three of them has helped with Edon being one of those nines who can play with his feet?
I just think they've got a really good understanding. Wilf likes to roll inside and he likes to see somebody who he can play off. Edon gives him that, and he's also set up some really good chances and opportunities for Kerwin. Kerwin's good at running in behind, and he's had some really good timed runs in behind. They've created goals with assists, but also scored goals himself. So I'm really pleased with how that three's working at the moment.
And then I think it was 2 goals where Gianni would pop out of the midfield into the left. Zaha would either play him, cross it, there was a goal, or I think Bronico got the second ball and then he crossed, there was a goal. Is that a set play you guys have been working?
It's one of them ones where when we have the ball, we want a midfield runner, and Gibbral's game is about that. You'll probably see a goal the first time he wore the yellow shirts.
Yes.
I think Gibral made that run
exactly.
and crossed, and I think it was Pep scored. And he made that run against Miami, and the ball got cut back, and for Bronico, who then set up Edon for the second goal. So it's something that it's an area of the pitch. We call it the assist zone that the midfielder runner can get into, because that's where you can cut the ball back and score a lot of goals.
Yeah, for sure. And then last one for me, just with Edon being there, with Pep being out, and we've seen a lot of Bronico step into that 10 role. How do you feel like that stretched him and pushed his game now being, that number playing a little bit closer to goal this season?
Yeah, it's not uncommon to him. We played him a lot there, towards the end of last season, and we had Pep on the right. He knows how to play that role. He runs beyond, so he makes defenders drop deeper, which allows Edon to come up and get turned, but it also allows pockets of space for Kerwin and Wilf to come into as well. So I'm liking what I'm seeing from BB at the moment, and he got the goal against New England as well, didn't he? I don't think he didn't know too much about it, but he can claim it, that's for sure.
Nobody did, I don't think. Cool. Thank you.
Do you think he's more dangerous defensively in that position than he is when you play him more naturally at the 8?
Do you mean defensively
Yes.
for them to defend him?
Do you think he's more dangerous defensively, kind of at the top of the press like that, than he would be more centrally?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, because he's a rash. He's all over you.
Creates chaos.
He creates chaos, and he he makes defenders unsettled, and that's what we want from our front two.
I know that, again, your sole focus is on Montreal, but based on projections, you could very well see New York again and would obviously force you to have to go there again. How would you handle that environment, that pitch differently, provided that you're not playing at the crack of dawn? How would you go about handling it differently, knowing how constrained that is and how much of your game is predicated on playing along?
No, the game plan going into the game I was still happy with, and I look back at the game. The goal changed, the penalty and the goal changed the game, because I think I heard their manager talk after and say that it allowed them to sit back and we had to go at them then, and it gave them the chance to counter-attack off us, and that's kind of how the game went. I felt between the two boxes we were really good, just don't think we had enough in the final third. So listen, whoever it is, I don't mind what pitch we have to go and play on.
So it's fair to say that we really didn't see a lot of your game plan because of how early the penalty came.
Definitely. I mean, once that penalty went in, you saw them change their game plan, and we have to alter ours then.
Anyone else?
Just a quick thought on Montreal for Saturday. I think we talked about everything but. I mean, what do they look like in the last few weeks? And
yeah, no, they without the ball, they're very aggressive, play a man-to-man system, and will try and win the ball back in your half for sure. So you've got to be good on the ball. You've got to have enough nous about you, when to take a touch and when not to, and when to play into the press and when to play over the press. They've got Owusu up front who can go in behind. He's decent on his left foot as well. They've got a new goalkeeper who's kept him in a few games as well at times. So I think they just signed Longstaff as well. I think he was traded from Toronto. So they've got some good players there. So as I say, we've got the utmost respect for them.
Dean, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.